G'day everyone. So just thought I'd spend a bit of time showing you some of the latest gear that I've now got available to use for wildlife control, for wildlife surveys, and for safely and stress-free being able to capture animals to relocate them when needed. First one we've got is, it's called an Elliott trap. It's a folding trap. It's got a trapdoor inside, pressure plate similar to a possum trap. Put some peanut butter in. We simply open it up, press it, put it in place. The animal comes along, presses on the pressure plate, shuts the door. It's made of aluminium and it's no mesh on it, so the animals can't damage themselves, can't injure themselves and get stressed out. It becomes a nice dark little hiding spot for them and they're nice and calm. So small mammals like antechinus, things like that get into houses and into buildings where they can come to harm and they become then considered to be a pest to some people, then yep, we can now set those traps and catch them and move them back to their natural habitat. And also use these traps too that to do wildlife surveys, similar to what they do at Winton wetlands, to get an idea of what species are around in an area, and to be able to catch them and not harm them, check them over and then release them again. Next thing we've got is this pretty snazzy looking piece of gear. It's spring loaded in its folded up form. Comes out and here we go. Get that out in the way. It's called a funnel trap, so it's got a little funnel hole at each end, a zip on the top to be able to remove animals that are caught, and it's made out of shade cloth. Animals go in and of course they get inside, they can't get back out. Again, small mammals, if you use it in wildlife surveys, snakes have been caught in these and they're totally unharmed. Blue-tongued lizards, bearded dragons, things like that, you can catch them in there, primarily for, as I said, for doing wildlife surveys. It is illegal to actually trap reptiles, to actually trap especially snakes. They're to be caught by a licensed snake catcher using specific equipment, and traps are not part of that equipment. So please don't entertain the thought of going out and buying a trap to catch a snake in Australia. It's just not on, except for specific purposes to do with wildlife conservation. We've now got these available to use in my kit. How do we get an animal to enter traps like this if it's out in the open? We use this stuff. It's called silt fence. They use it for stopping erosion, and in this case we use it for guiding wildlife along specific paths, specific walkways, and into things like these funnel traps. Simply unroll it out, peg it in with wooden stakes, and that then gives a barrier that they have to then enter these into the traps that have been set. We can then either relocate the animals, if that's the target project, which in the case of land development or potential future land development, developers can get people like us in and we can then relocate protected wildlife to a more suitable environment where they're going to be safe, or in the case quite often where there's been a human encounter into houses or sheds or shops or industrial buildings, and we can then capture them and relocate them. Again, stress-free, unharmed, and the animals aren't able to damage themselves in any way. Yeah, so that's just a couple of the new things that we've got available to use as needed, all in our effort for wildlife conservation. So yeah, enjoy your day, and we'll catch up again soon.